post-game report. Of course, the Lakers dropping another one and a crucial game at that in Portland. They hung close, but 106-101. The Lakers lose. Really, so much to talk about tonight with Anthony Davis looking like he's returning to form, as Jonathan Watson says, the officiating. But before all that starts, I want to introduce the crew that is on tonight. You guys have never seen this guy in person, but you've seen his writing. You've even seen his comments. Tan Marino from Twitch. We used to read him all the time. But he's a Showtime Forum alum. He's a family member. He's a brother from another mother, man. Justin T. Stover.
What's up, man?
Dude. What's going on, man?
Not too much, man.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm happy to have you on the show. In case you guys don't know, Justin's going to be doing some co-hosting throughout the rest of the playoffs and the season. Then, of course, you guys already know Jay Watt, who has been handling and holding down while I was down with COVID and the whole nine. You see him Lakered out right now. He's sitting he's looking like a Don right now, man. Like you should be sipping on a 40 or something right now with all that on right now, brother.
Watching the throne,
my dude. So, guys, let's talk about it tonight as we're all on here. I just what I saw tonight was both encouraging and deflating. This is something that I think we wanted to see in regards to Anthony Davis a little bit earlier than seeing it tonight. But all things considered, all details counted into the equation. The Lakers fell short, but did you see something that gave you hope?
Yeah, Anthony Davis looked like himself.
Yeah, healthy. There were a few times when I was a little nervous. Every time he falls down, I feel like I'm picking up my phone. You don't know if he's going to get back up, and that kind of sucks. But he looks good, and he looks fresh, and he looks like he just needs LeBron now.
Yeah. What I was saying was when I was thinking about it, I was like, we finally look like a team that's just one piece away. And the fact that we don't have to wait necessarily for that piece, we have him. We just have to wait for him to get healthy. So it really looked like if LeBron was in that game, it would have been a much different outcome. It would have been a much different outcome. So there's one person I want to bring up real quick before we get going. Tonight, the Lakers starters did their thing, man. Anthony Davis with 36 points, Caldwell Pope with 17, Alex Caruso with 18. But I think the untold, the big elephant in the room was Kyle Kuzma, who literally was 0 of 6 from 3, only had 4 points in 33 minutes, 2 of 11 shooting. Not the Kyle that we're used to. And I really think if Kyle would have been just a simile of himself, this game actually could have been won. What do you do with Kyle Kuzma at this point?
He's shooting, and that's what he's there to do. 0 for 6 killed us, and it's literally if he makes we lost by 5. If he makes 2 of those, if he goes 2 of 6 from 3, we win that game, regardless of officiating, regardless of missed free throws. But man, I used to not be big on Kuzma, but I think this season he seems like he's kind of developed his game a little bit. He looks like a more mature basketball player. And it just wasn't his night, and it happens. So I don't know. I just keep him going.
Jonathan, what you think?
I really don't think there's nothing you can do. With all the injuries, no LeBron, no THT, no Schroeder right now. You gotta play what you can play. Same thing was with the guards. We didn't know who was gonna be the major ball handler. And Caruso had his moment tonight. So I just think we just gotta ride with him until we get Bron back, or maybe somebody else steps up. Maybe it could be a Ben McLemore, or maybe Keith snaps out of it. But until then, we just gotta ride with Kuz because he's the only other. He's really, to be honest, he's the 4th best player on the team, but he hasn't been playing like it. And tonight was just one of those nights where you just need him to just, like I've been saying before, don't focus on trying to do too much. I said this on Tuesday night. Just play your game and stay focused. I brought this up in the spaces last night, Devon and Justin. When he just plays his game, we're in a whole better place. But when he starts overcompensating because his offense isn't going, it doesn't work. And then he shows those moments where I really question his IQ on the court because he gets too he gets too excited.
Yeah. This is where I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. There has been no player who's had to transition train of thought on the court more than Kuzma. When Bron and AD are there, Kuzma wants you to play defense. We want you to rebound, and then let scoring be your third option. And then you have Anthony Davis and LeBron off, and you say, Kuzma, we need you to go back to being a scorer again. And he tries to get his 20 points. And then AD comes back, and you go, okay, listen, we don't need you to be aggressive as much. We need you to help on the boards, even though Drummond had 9 tonight. You have Anthony Davis back. And so he has to be fluid in his train of thought. So for me, he's the most unsettled. Caruso knows that no matter how much he's playing point right now, that's not going to be his identity when Bron comes back. He's not going to be in the starting lineup. He's not going to be the primary ball. He's going to be the third primary ball handler. I don't know what you call that, the third handler. And so he knows where his role is. Kuzma, in and out of the starting lineup, depending on who gets hurt, doesn't even know what his minutes are going to be. And so for me, I'm giving him a pass tonight. Because it was obvious that they gave the green light to the starting lineup to shoot. Alex Caruso shooting tonight 16 times. Alex Caruso was 8 of 16 tonight. Name a game where Alex Caruso shot, not just 16 shots, but made half of them. The boy almost had a 20-pointer tonight. And I'm talking going all the way back to when it was just Bron and the boys and the young kids. He didn't get that much run. And then you also have Caldwell Pope tonight, who looked like he was returning to form. So Kuzma really couldn't find his spot. You had 2 other hot hands along with Anthony Davis. He was kind of the fourth option. The issue was that when they called his number in the crucial spots, he didn't hit. He didn't hit, man. And I'm telling you, when he missed that last 3, that's when I literally went over and started getting the show ready because I knew it was over at that point. That was our one shot to get in there. Yeah, Kuz's job this season has been constantly changing. I ain't even mad at Kuz. He's doing his best. Okay, so now, Justin, tonight, Kuzma's starting lineup, 33 minutes. You know when LeBron is there. He still might be in the starting lineup. Let me just say that. He still might be in the starting lineup going forward. Replace Alex Caruso with Bron. How many minutes do you give Kuzma in the playoffs?
I mean, probably 22. I mean, he played 33 tonight. Depending on matchup, I mean, and how well, if Keith gets his shot back, I have a hard time thinking Keith's going to be completely out of rotation in the playoffs just because of his defense and his experience, and he kind of barks, and we need that personality. But I mean, I think Cruz will get between 22 and 28, right? I mean, dude, like Watson said, he's our 4th best player. So I mean, he's gonna play 20 plus minutes. You have to, you know.
True. I'm not against it. I think the issue that you're gonna have going forward, though, giving him that many minutes in the playoffs, and one of the biggest reasons they'd be justified is because he's been there before. That everybody on this lineup, Kuzma played a lot of minutes in the bubble. So he's warranted just based upon the past that he's able to do that. But the issue is that you have a much different team than last year. And his position is not as clear-cut as before. You really have 3 centers, but sometimes they play point forward. Tonight, I saw something that made me so excited, man. I saw Drummond. I saw AD and Gasol on the floor together tonight. And I'm telling you, that got me so juiced up because the offense felt fluid. And there was a moment where Gasol went down, and I thought that was it. I thought this dude was going to be out for the rest of the year. I don't know if you guys remember that play where he fell out of bounds.
Yeah. Under the basket.
Huh?
When he fell under the basket?
When he fell under the basket. Bro, and listen, this is how you know that you believe in a player. This is how you know that you're connected to a player. When he went down, I legit was like, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. Now, before, maybe 15 games ago, I'd have been like, oh, well, that just clears up what Drummond's going to be doing. But tonight, listen, the last few games, I feel like Marc Gasol has proved himself. Even though we lost, we played well, still optimistic. Why no Trez with Drummond in foul trouble? Trez, another DNP tonight. And we don't know what's going on with Trez. But given what we talked about with Kuzma, given what we've talked about even with Morris, how many minutes do you give Trez?
I give him his normal. Give him his normal. I think it's really going to be on the matchup. I think this is going to be like we talked about the other day, Devon. This is going to be Dwight JaVale all over again with Gasol and Trez and Drummond, because I think Vogel's going to play the best matchup, and there's going to be some games where one of those 3 are going to get some DNP CDs, and he's gonna have to just keep them engaged because we need them for the playoffs. And if they can't, and they got to know there's a bigger goal at the end of the road. Let's not focus on the potatoes. Let's focus on the whole entree right now. If you miss a game or two, just know that Vogel has your best interest, and he's going to play the percentages. It helped us last year, and it will help us again this year.
Now, but let's be honest though. It's felt weird with Trez all season, right?
Since Drummond, it's really been weird.
So what do you do with that? So Drummond tonight, man, 22 minutes. Obviously, Trez was a DNP, so we're not going to talk about him. But Drummond had 9 rebounds tonight, and really next to AD, he was the only one who really rebounded. I mean, to be honest, everybody else kind of just threw their 4 and 5 in there. But Trez has been known to do a great offensive putbacks. He's been known to roll to the basket. He obviously doesn't have the size of Drummond. But if you had to make a choice between who's going to get the most minutes, who are you picking?
Well, Devon, you know what's crazy is, do you remember – I don't know if it was the last time we played Portland. I don't remember what game it was, but it was this season, and it was on this show. And I wrote in the comments, and I said, Harold doesn't have a matchup in this game against the Blazers. Who does he play with? And who does he play on? And so, I mean, again, I just think it's more situational. And Frank Vogel, I haven't seen a Lakers coach that's been more situationally influenced than it's almost like a batting lineup, you know. Which it's like if you got a lefty versus righty and that whole thing, he's very analytical. And so, I mean, he might look at this team, and again, if I don't know who he'd even play with. Who's he going to cover? Carmelo? Probably not.
Nope.
You know, so I don't know. I think and I do think there's a little something else going on off the court. Maybe we're not.
Yeah,
totally aware.
There has to be something. But you're right. I mean, if you look at the matchup,
I always go back to this. It's all about. It always comes back to the money. This guy's in a contract year. He's already felt like his value is being depreciated because he didn't get a big deal last year from the Clippers or any other team, and he had to settle for the full mid level, which isn't bad. You're getting $9 million, but this was a guy that a lot of people were projecting to get anywhere from 13 to 15 last year, and now if he keeps having some DNPs and his value keeps devouring, this just might be where his peak is. Salary.
Okay.
Well, just to clarify, he did sign a 2-year deal, right?
And the second year is a player option.
And the second year is a player option. So it's not going to be a matter of whether or not he gets his money. That's going to be on him. The $9 million that he's getting, that's going to be pretty much that's going to be signed, sealed, delivered for him. Okay, unless he wants to go to another team and possibly make more money, who knows? But like what we saw tonight with him not playing at all, I will give Justin this, because when you look at Nurkic and you look at Kanter, those are two bigs that are way too big for him. And then you look at people like Norman Powell, you look at Simons, you look at Carmelo. Those are guys that are obviously way quicker than him, and they stretch the floor a lot more. And so it doesn't really make sense to throw him in there, and especially if you already have an AD and a Gasol or a Drummond and an AD in there. There's not much that you can do because everybody stays on the inside and it clogs that paint. So it almost felt like we signed Trez, and then we didn't realize that Drummond would become available. And if we had started free agency all over again, and you had to make a choice between Drummond or Trez to start the season, who are you going with?
To start the
only
season?
Side one.
Probably Trez.
Over
I would
Drummond.
have. Yeah, because dude, Trez was hot last season. That's me. I mean,
he's a reigning six man for a reason.
Here's what's weird. Right now he's just under 14 points a game, and he's in limited minutes. He's at just under 14 points a game. Right now, if the whole Laker roster, he has the highest player efficiency rating on the team. And I know some people like that, some people don't. His player efficiency rating is 22.91. That's higher than Anthony Davis, and it's higher than Drummond's. And so, again, I'm not saying he's better or as good as Anthony Davis, but I just don't know why we don't find a little bit more time for him. If it's Drummond, I think that's kind of silly. But
yeah, I to be honest with you, I think when the whole reason that we signed Drummond was because there seemed to have been an issue with Gasol. And then all of a sudden Drummond shows up and Gasol just turns it on. And it almost makes it look like, and you see a lot of it, Laker Nation is split. Like, you need to start Gasol. And you oftentimes when you see Drummond playing 20-plus minutes, you go, well, where's Gasol at? And so I wonder if Gasol would have had a chance to really get a rhythm early, would we have still signed Drummond? Would that have really been the signing that we went after? Because I think Drummond, AD, and Trez would have been good enough had we had more time. I think we almost hit the panic button and got Drummond. And I'm not against Drummond. I think he can add value, but it also leaves you in this situation where you have a nine-man rotation tonight, and Harrell didn't play. We generally run a 10-man rotation, but there was no place to put him. There was no place to put him tonight, and that made it very difficult on there. Situationally challenged, Vogel is doing the best he can under the injury situation the Lakers have faced. And then what's funny is, so you have this comment, and then Lakers All Day on YouTube says this coach is killing the Lakers. So there's two varying opinions here. My question for you is, what grade would you give Vogel for this season based upon where we are right now?
Oh man, a B. I mean, what's he supposed to do? You know, I mean, LeBron and AD both missed almost 20 games together in the middle of the season, and they're still in the playoffs. So, you know, I don't think it's necessarily Vogel. There have been some of the rotations I haven't loved, and some of the DMPs have been confusing, and the Gasol, the way that all went down was a little concerning too, and he kind of even got a little mopey. So I didn't know if there was stuff with Vogel and Gasol going on, but I'd give him a B. I mean, dude, just get us in the playoffs. You know, if our ship would have completely sank when we lost LeBron and AD, then we'd be talking C-. But we're still there, and we're going to be fine. So.
Yeah, I still trust Vogel, man. What I saw from him last year, and the biggest thing that got me excited about him was he started Caruso in Game 6. And for me, that was a gutsy move, because if the Lakers would have lost, that would have been on him. But the Lakers blew out the Heat. And it was a smart move to me, you know, but it took guts to do that. And once he did that, you said it before, man, this dude is situationally influenced. And he did what he thought was best. And I think he's doing what he thinks is best even here. Kevin Angelos on YouTube says 2 shots were taken away from Kuz and AD. I think we're talking about the tip-ins, I want to say.
Yeah.
The tap-ins. I think for Kuz, his was supposed to count. I think ADs, they counted ADs when they shouldn't have, technically. I think that's what happened. Unless it happened again. I only remember one tip in with AD where it should have been. But yeah, I mean, and to be honest, Kuz was doing his thing, man. I don't, like I said, I'm not mad at Kuz at all. But tonight we needed him to be the Kuz of old, and it's hard to flip that switch, man. I don't know if anybody's ever been in a position where they've had to operate in one position and then someone asks you to flip the switch and go somewhere else. And it's difficult, man. You got to flip your mind around. And I'm not sure Kuzma was able to do that tonight. And if anything, it showed in 33 minutes and 4 points tonight. George Santiago says Lakers wouldn't have taken Dre if they felt AD would be healthy and right. AD missed too much time. That is right. I forgot. We got Drummond when AD was down. And so if you remember, there was that long span where AD was down, and then the free agent market kind of picked up. And the question was, even when we signed Drummond, how is Drummond and AD going to play off each other? That's very, very good. Jay Watt, this must be you. Frank Vogel says the Lakers aren't worried about that in terms of whether they land in the play-in. Are you worried?
Nope. He said, yeah, this is a quote from Ryan Ward. He's saying this is post-game right now. They aren't worried about where they land the play-in. They're very confident wherever they land.
How confident are you?
I'm about a 6-7. I'm still a little positive because I feel like I just don't want to. I'm just not the guy to bet against LeBron James in a must-win game. I'm sorry. I've learned too many times when you try to bet against this dude, he makes you look stupid. I know everyone was betting against him that final year in Cleveland when the Celtics, with no Kyrie and a young Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they were up 3-2, and they went back to Cleveland. Instead of closing the door, they left it open, and he basically said, okay, y'all must have forgot who I am, and they went back to Boston, despite the fact that Jason Tatum put him on a poster, sent him back home to St. Louis.
Yeah.
Okay, Jay, what about you, man? Justin, how you feeling? Are you feeling confident? You feeling like, hey, man, we need to get up out of this playing game?
Man, if we're afraid of a playing game, we shouldn't be ready for the playoffs. I know, and I actually wrote about this, like all the situations and stuff, and I was talking to David on Slack, and I'm like, dude, people are tripping about the playing game. If we can't beat Golden State or we can't beat Memphis and we're worried about that, regardless of health or not. I mean, I'm leaning towards I think we're going to be okay. But, dude, if we're freaking out about a little play-in series against technically a 9th and 10th seed, why like, what makes us feel better about playing the Clippers or Denver? Like,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I think it's silly. I wrote about that in the article. I said, like, I don't think we care as much as other teams do. Here's what I think with us. I don't think Vogel and the staff, I don't think LeBron and AD and the rest of the team is as concerned with where they wind up at the end of the season. As long as it's in the playoffs, I don't think they care where. You know who cares more? Is Utah, is Phoenix, is the Clippers, and Denver. They care where we wind up. I promise you, they care. We don't. And I'm not saying that we think we're going to beat. I mean, I think behind closed doors, I think LeBron and AD and gauging their health would probably be pretty confident in knowing, like, hey, we can beat every team. But I don't think they're cocky about it. But I just think to them, they know who they are, and it shouldn't matter. So if we get in, they expect to win. And it is what it is. I think the other 4 teams at the top are all paying attention and are all somewhat concerned with where we're going to stop. So
Agreed. And I think Moore said it best. He said, man, we ain't worried about it.
Yeah.
He said, because we know that nobody wants to see us fully healthy.
Right.
That's the bottom line. When you see this squad fully healthy, which we have not really been all year, it's a scary thought. It's
that's
a real
the only
scary
concern.
Thought.
That's the only concern is we're banged up, and can we salvage things, in time? And that's going to be the determining factor. So
we'll find out. Our own Del Toro says, only thing I like about Vogel is he had last year and this year's team buying into playing defense. I'm with that. I'm to be honest, I'm with that. And even tonight, man, like, I know it sounds crazy, but 106-101, but you got to remind yourself that for the most part, with the exception, I think, of Zach Collins, who's hurt, the Trailblazers, that's pretty much what you're going to see in the playoffs. If you were to play them in the playoffs, that's what you're going to get. For the Lakers, this is not what you would get in the playoffs, nowhere near it. And one of the biggest parts of that is, could you imagine if we would have played the Blazers and there was no Dame? Could you imagine what tonight would have been like? Right?
Yeah.
That's what it was like for the Lakers not having LeBron, but LeBron's even greater because Dame doesn't facilitate. And so for the Lakers to be able to keep it within 5 and guys stepping up like KCP and Caruso and stuff like that, for us to be able to do that is good. Here's the issue. You got McCollum with 21. You got Damian Lillard with 38. So tonight, Anthony Davis had 36. What we saw last year is anytime that you saw one of these guys in double digits, AD or LeBron, they're generally close to each other. So you probably would have seen Bron around 28 to 32 points. Well, that's a blowout. That's a complete blowout compared to what we're seeing here. But if you take away those points, or you take away Damian's 38 points, this game's not even close. And so for me, I don't count this loss as something that we should hold on to too tough. But what I do hold on to is the fact that we held Portland 106 points on defense alone. And it was so good to see Anthony Davis blocking people's shot at the rim.
At the end of the game. He kept us in that game at the end.
He did.
That's what we did. It was such a Portland Trailblazers win tonight, though. It's kind of annoying. Dude, like, I love Dame. Like, he's probably my favorite non-Laker. And I have been heavily in that boat the whole when I see a photoshopped Damian Lillard in a Laker, when I see a photoshopped Laker jersey on Lillard, I get all sorts of excited. So I love the guy and I respect him and I think he's one of the best in the game. But that's such a Damian Lillard Portland Trailblazer win tonight. It just is like, and I saw the fans, like, is this the first game with the fans back and they're clapping? And I'm like, dude, like, come on. Like, I had to, it really bothered me.
2,000 people in that arena, man. The House of Horrors Portland has always been a Laker trouble spot. But tonight, I like what I saw from the people. Our guy, P. Ngata, said, Lakers, Lake Show, Laker Nation all day. So he says, God bless, man. Kevin Angelos, just bring it. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It doesn't matter what your name is. That doesn't matter what your name is. Jay Watt, man, talk to us, man. What is happening here? I know you heard something else. Frank Vogel on Anthony Davis. This is the best game since he returned, for sure. Yeah. The stats would surely say it. But would you think, is he back to form, or do you think there's still some more that AD needs to get together to get back into complete shape for the playoffs?
He still got to get a little. Some of those bunnies, he had a couple of bunnies that went in and out. Obviously, he had a couple of threes that went in and out, but it was the best game he looked. I want him to work from the outside in instead of work inside out instead of outside in, because I think that would build up his confidence more as he's continuing to return. And like Justin said at the beginning of the show, I think he's just waiting on LeBron to get back, and he even said this is the best he's felt since his return. So he's going to feel a little more. I think as the games keep going, he's going to start feeling more boost in his legs. So he's starting to get his legs under him. Man, we got 2 more. Remember, we still got 2 more back-to-backs before the season and the play-in tournament. If we're end up there, so we got 5 more games left, and he's got enough time to get his legs back. I'm not worried about Bron. I just think he's just not human anyway. He's like a cyborg. So, but as long as AD starts getting his rhythm back, and now they can help Drummond find his place in this picture, I think we can be very encouraging come the play-in tournament, or if we got to face the Clippers in the first round.
I'm with it all the way, bro. I'm with it all the way. Keep us posted with what they're saying in those post-game, man, because I'm very interested to see how they're viewing this game. Listen, Justin, I have to ask you this, man, because this is the way the schedule is shaping up. The Lakers are done tonight. They're going to play again on Sunday against Phoenix, who tonight had a fantastic game again tonight. New York is going to be after that on Tuesday, and then that's a back-to-back. You have New York, and then you have Houston, and then Saturday, Sunday, another back-to-back. So you have 2 back-to-backs. You have a Tuesday, Wednesday, New York, Houston, then a Saturday, Sunday, Indiana, New Orleans. And if we stay in the 7th seed, just 2 days later, we'd be in the play-in on that Tuesday, from my understanding. So does this remaining schedule scare you, or do you believe that when LeBron gets back, we're going to be able to kind of capture some of these games and then eventually get back to the 6th seed?
Dude, I don't know. I'm not really scared. I think we should take Houston. I mean, it'd be nice and ideally, I mean, it'd be nice to have LeBron back on Sunday, but if he's not healthy, if he doesn't feel 100% or as 100% as he's going to be, I wouldn't even think about it. I'd just let him sit. But I mean, I think ideally I'd love to see him back for New York. If him and AD, I mean, here's the thing. If we go in and him and AD and we can beat the Knicks, right? I think we can if they're back. Then hopefully maybe they come out and they play 2.5 quarters worth of minutes against Houston, right? Maybe take most of the second half off would be nice. Given our previous track record right now, I don't think it'd be a given because we can't beat the Kings and we can't beat some of these other teams right now. But I mean, like, I think we're okay. I think we're fine. I think we'll probably lose to Phoenix. I don't think they're going to push LeBron into that game. That's not a good game for him to go get his feet back under him either. So I think we're going to go. Who do we have on Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday is Indiana and New Orleans, and that's to be determined. They don't have a playing time for either one of those games.
And Zion's hurt.
Yeah, he'll be out. He'll be out for some time. I think they're still trying to decide if he needs surgery or not. That's going to determine how long he's out. But to be honest, I don't even see a point in playing him the rest of the season. So the last game of the season doesn't make sense to me.
We are going to go 4-1. We're going to go 4-1.
4-1. Okay, well, tell me where the one loss is.
I think we lose to Phoenix.
And then we sweep the rest of the season. New York, Houston, Indiana, New Orleans.
I do, because I think LeBron will be back. And I know just from watching LeBron's career, any basketball fan who follows LeBron knows this. He takes a little bit to get his team, the roster rolling. And so I think he's really going to value that time. And I mean, if he's really, really hurt, and then he won't. But I think he's okay. And I think he comes back. And then what? I mean, Indiana and the Pelicans, those should be games we can win.
Yeah.
The big one's going to be, can we beat New York? You know,
that's true. That's true. Michael Glottfley, I hope I'm saying this right, Mike. But on YouTube, this is gonna be crucial to what you just said, Justin. Health is a concern and obstacle, but chemistry is an issue, and this is the part that I think I'm more nervous about. I am like you. I'm not afraid of anybody externally, but internally, I am nervous about what does it look like, because just being honest, number one, you've introduced 2 new players to the team mid-season, essentially, with Drummond and what's his name?
McLemore.
So you've introduced those 2 guys who LeBron, if you already know, takes some time to learn his team. That's normally why they struggle early in the season, is because he's trying to learn.
Right.
So he has to learn 2 new players. There were some times when LeBron did come back and play where he was feeding Drummond and Drummond was not finishing. And so it makes me wonder, how does that bode for chemistry purposes going in? Does Bron tell coach, hey, we need to put Mark in when I'm in because this dude's not finishing? Or just being honest, man, like some of these guys have had to step up for so long, they've gained a little confidence and they've, and quote unquote, earned some time. When you see Caruso doing what he did tonight, even though it wasn't spectacular and he missed that shot at the end, he still put up some significant points and he still was able to facilitate a little bit. So when you see that, I don't know how the chemistry is going to work when Bron comes back, minutes get lower, the rotations get smaller. There's going to be a lot more DMPs than what we're seeing right now. Do you think chemistry is going to be able to get itself on track by the time we get into the playoffs?
If we want to win, it has to. Like, I mean, if you're a player, that's just the truth, man. If these guys want to win a championship, if Marc Gasol wants to go out there and he wants to win another one, you got to set your pride down, dude. And even if Andre Drummond is having lobs bounce off his forehead like Kwame Brown, and I mean, he's just going to have to suck it up. And I do think, going back to the LeBron thing, LeBron is absolutely going to have no problem come the postseason. If Drummond's not cutting it, absolutely no problem. He's not gonna have zero issue telling Frank Vogel. Yeah, I'd probably tell Drummond, like, dude, this is why you're not gonna be playing right now, dude. Like, you know,
you good,
right? And so I don't know. I mean, my own, realistically, and I don't really know why. My only chemistry concern right now is I'm a little concerned about Schroeder coming back, because I don't know how well all this is playing out with him, and no one's even talking about him right now, and he's sitting at home playing Call of Duty and minding his own business. I have concerns a little bit with Schroeder, and then again the Trez thing, because I don't know where his head's at, if he's
okay.
But I don't have concerns with Drummond, and I don't have concerns with Ben McLemore. I think they're fine. I think LeBron can get the best out of those guys. He's just gonna need a few runs with them.
Bro, so last night on Spaces, I was a little bit more colored, transparent. I was a little more animated with how I felt. So you probably, I don't know if you know this, but last night during the game, Schroeder was playing Call of Duty.
I heard he did it again tonight.
And he did it again tonight.
Yeah.
And this would be the equivalent of Bron live streaming Taco Tuesday while he's smoking cigars during the game. It's just a complete lack of leadership for someone who's supposed to be the starting point guard next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are world champions and won without him. It's not like they needed him last year to win.
Right.
Rondo was just fine. And this dude wants to come in and ask for way more money than Rondo. And
he's trying to get paid too. What is he doing?
I don't
just don't care. He doesn't care.
It's hard to say. And here is the dynamic. Rondo has been trained up differently, right? He came to the Boston Celtics, and you had a Paul Pierce and a Ray Allen and a Kevin Garnett who didn't play though. He didn't, that wasn't their attitude. And of course, there wasn't video games like that, and Twitch wasn't streaming and stuff like that. And Rondo's older, right? So Rondo knows, and he's been kind of seasoned more. I thought after Schroeder spent a season with Chris Paul, he would understand the gravity of the position of point guard and how much he controls on and off the court with his demeanor, with his attitude, with his words, with his work ethic, all of that. And I just don't know if that sends a message to the team that's encouraging going into the playoffs. I'm not even sure as a coaching staff, if I'm Jason Kidd, one of the greatest point guards to ever hold the ball in the NBA, and I see this dude, I don't know how I don't snatch him up in practice or call him on the phone and be like, hey, bro, like, do it again, and you're off.
Question for you. Hypothetically, let's say the Lakers do go 4-1. Let's say LeBron comes back against New York. And I don't know. He's not a leader. He's definitely not a leader. But let's say Caruso starts, and he starts playing really well. I'm not going to expect him to put up 18, and I'm not saying he'd have to average that. But what do we do if Caruso starts finding a groove and playing really well? He has great experience with LeBron. And we go 4-1 into the play-in or postseason. Does Schroeder come back, and do we immediately start him, especially the way he's been kind of going about things?
Listen, I wouldn't. I never wanted to start Schroeder in the first place. I appreciate his skill and all of that. But to me, he is always best suited as a six man. He's much more Lamar Odom than he is Derek Fisher to me.
Right. No, it's
he's
true.
Much more Lamar Odom. He doesn't complement the starting lineup well to me. Not when you have LeBron James on the floor, who's the greatest facilitator in our generation. I don't see that, right? So for me, if Caruso's got it going, I'm telling him to hit the bench. Now here's the thing: we promised him that he would have the starting role, but that's when we were trying to sign him. I don't know if the Lakers are still as adamant about having this dude on the roster for next year, especially after what we've been seeing the past couple of days and getting caught in COVID protocol twice. As it says here, this is the second time with him dealing with this. There's no focus. No other member has had this issue. In fact, I'm trying to think of somebody in the NBA who had to sit out twice for COVID protocols in the same season. Like, you have a very small responsibility in that, and that's basically stay about. Look, so here's the crazy part. If you are going to stay at home and stream COD, then stay at home and stream COD. If you're going out and you're doing crazy stuff, which to me is somebody who's had COVID, it doesn't have to be anything super crazy. Like I caught it because my wife had to do a studio session, and the person there had it, and it just passed through the house, right? So like I can get it on that level, right? I can understand that level. But if I have playoffs and all that stuff on the line, I don't care if I have to check myself into Airbnb until the season is over. I'm protecting myself to make sure I can stay on that floor, right? So, to me, I'm keeping Caruso in the starting lineup. If he's catching the groove and he's going, then put Schroeder on the back end. Let him and Trez pick and roll from the second unit and tear the other team apart, and he can earn his money that way. But right now, I'm done with him as a starter. Completely.
That situation, though, that concerns me with chemistry because I don't know if it would even be worth. Didn't his agent say that his agent? I mean, he's not going to push the Laker organization around, but didn't his agent come out and say before he signed, he wants to be the starter? Like, that's where his head's at. And so, can you sit down, Dennis Schroeder, after all this stuff going on? Can you sit him down and confidently put him in a backup role and with limited minutes and expect him to not mess up or stain some of the team chemistry? I don't know if it's possible because I don't think he cares, dude. I really don't think he cares.
I don't think he does either.
Here's the thing, too. I was talking to my buddy earlier about this. I don't care if you're playing Call of Duty during the game. I really don't, dude. If you have it on your TV, and I'm sure he's got 2 TV, whatever, dude. I don't care. That's fine. But to be so intentional as to just stream, because it's public, and so the perception of that, and even your teammates, dude, these Lakers are going through the ringer right now with the national media and with fan bases and all this stuff. And so for you to just I don't know, man. Like that doesn't sit super well with me. I wish we had a guy like Rondo still on our roster that would hit him up and be like, "Hey, dude, you know." I don't know. I'm almost over the Schroeder experience because I just
I think he's lost Laker Nation, man. I think he's lost Laker Nation. Let me bring in our boy Justin again. Anthony Davis chalks up collapse at the end of the game to mental mistakes. Do you have anything more on that? Because I really would love context to what mental mistakes means.
I'm reading a quote from Ryan Ward's tweet, and I think he's really focusing on what happened in that fourth quarter. Obviously, the whole switch around. He missed the dunk situation, then the Kuz play. Then obviously there was some missed threes. There was some fouls that should have been. It was like there was a lot of things that were going their way, and then all of a sudden the light bulb went out, and they just totally collapsed. And Portland capitalized because you think about the play when AD made the dunk, and they said they took it away because it came out the rim. Damian Lillard goes, it's a three. Following possession, Kuz. They call offensive goaltending on Kuz, which clearly wasn't. When you look at the camera angle that Spectrum showed, it was not offensive. The ball was not over the cylinder. It came off the cylinder, and Kuz perfectly timed it. And what happens? Damian Lillard comes out and hits another three. So that's a 7-point switch right there.
Yeah.
But the mental mistakes, I think, had to deal with a lot. You know, there was some bad passes at the end and, you know, penetration, not protecting the ball like it did. Not like they did in the first quarter. First quarter, they were just flat out the Keystone Cops. They was just basically tripping over their own feet with the basketball. But the rest of the game, they were like a game manager. I give it a comparison. At first they were being gunslinger in the first quarter, and then they went to being a game manager the rest of the game. So that's how they was able to manage the turnovers.
That makes sense. I got something to show y'all right quick. Something that's popped up on Twitter. Thanks to our boy David Portillo. I want to show you guys this right now. There's a conversation happening between Isaiah Thomas and Quinn Cook. Isaiah Thomas, who used to be a Laker, if I'm not mistaken, his time here was short.
Yeah, so no pun intended.
Pun intended.
Oh!
Man, I can help them Laker boys during this time. And then our beloved Quinn Cook says, man, I feel you. You ain't the only one, big bro. Now, let me ask you a question. In a game like you had tonight, where you're fighting for your 6th seed, I can't believe I'm saying that, as an NBA champion, who are you taking, Isaiah Thomas or Quinn Cook, to run your point guard position? Tell me in the chat as well, man. I want to know in the chat for all y'all.
It's sad that it's even this difficult of a question to answer right now.
Oh man! Listen, if you're asking me, I'm always going to go with Quinn Cook.
I would take Thomas. I'd take IT in a heartbeat
over Quinn Cook.
What is Quinn Cook?
I'm taking Quinn Cook because he's a Laker. But we're talking just based off skill. You're taking IT.
Quinn Cook.
We have a soft spot in our heart for Quinn Cook.
Yeah, for sure.
He's one of us. He's truly one of us. He bleeds this jersey, even though he's in Cleveland. He's bleeding this jersey that I'm wearing right now. He's bleeding this number he bleeds this number that I wear that I got on right now. True. That's number 8 for those of y'all who don't see on the camera. That's a number. This is a number 8. He bleeds this, and this is a dude that was playing with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. But he knew it was like he hit the lottery when the Lakers said, we want to sign you to a veteran minimum contract.
I agree with you, Jonathan.
We're biased towards Quinn because he's one of us. But when you do the eyeball test, we know IT's a better player.
I'm biased towards him because he's won rings and Isaiah Thomas hasn't. That's why I'm biased.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas would have won rings on that Warriors team too.
And then, thank you. And then you also remember, but then you also got to think about it. I know people don't want to always try to downplay it, but we know dang well LeBron ain't letting that dude back in his locker room after the Cleveland experience.
Oh yeah, no.
Everybody blows up out of portion, but George Sedano brings it up every time LeBron hit that game winner. and IT was trying to jump on LeBron's chest, and LeBron was like, "Dude, out of my way. You're gonna be on the first thing to LA tomorrow," and he was.
Man, I appreciate. Okay, so tell us about these Vegas odds. You put something in the chat, something about Vegas odds. What are the Vegas odds?
The odds in Vegas have not changed, even though the Lakers are now been for the last 30 minutes to an hour are now the 7th seed. They're still the favorite to come out the West. Vegas knows.
That lets you know. And it looks like, based upon the chat, here we go. NBA champion Quinn Cook. Jack Clinette says, I could be the point guard better than IT. Thank you so much. But Kevin Angelis does vote for IT.
There you go.
David Portillo comes back. Justin's crazy. Too much conditioner in his hair. Cook all day. Kevin Angelis again. Now he switches it. Kevin Angelis says IT here and then switches it and says QC. So I think he throws himself out. Listen, guys, here's a weird stat. Per Stat News, the Lakers are 32-19 without Drummond, 5-11 with Andre Drummond, which I don't think is fair.
It's not.
Because LeBron has been out for the most part since Andre Drummond has been here. But it is an interesting stat to look at, is it not?
I mean, stats are jaded anyway. Go ahead, Justin.
I'm just that it's interesting, but I mean, Drummond's played how many games with LeBron? 2. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not buying that. I still have maybe unrealistic expectations for what Drummond could be if he gets used to playing with LeBron and LeBron gets used to playing with him. But maybe it's crazy. I'm close to letting go of that hope, but I think there's a possibility still.
I'm with it. I'm with you on that.
Big old lobs. He's got like 280 pounds, bend the rim down, and that's like what I like. And I just don't know though. I don't know.
We'll see. Well, I mean, listen, we'll see. I think it's gonna take some time, but we'll see. Wow. This is crazy. It's not crazy, but it's good. Vogel says Lakers can't focus too much on the standings. They'll try to win as many games as they can, but they're in an adjustment phase, like they've been most of the year without key players. Get LeBron Schroeder back healthy, and they're confident regardless of opponent. And
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does not matter.
It really doesn't. And I think that's a gift. I know we talk about Schroeder and him and all his antics and things like that. The bottom line is the boy's going to play the rest of the season. And he does add value on the court. He does add value.
Right.
I don't think we maximize him as well in the starting lineup, but he does add value. LeBron obviously is the premier value that you can have for your team. Having those two components out, I just, when you bring them back and they're healthy and they're ready to go, I think they're gonna be just fine. I
agree.
Yeah. This is an interesting stat. Alex Caruso played 34 minutes tonight and scored a season-high 18.6 rebounds with just one turnover, all on a severely sore foot. Give me a grade on Caruso.
I think he played great. For Caruso, he gets an A. But he only had one assist. So
hey.
I mean, like, but if we're talking about turnovers in a I don't know.
Listen,
if he would have had six assists and one turnover, I would have given him an A+. But you're gonna get an A because if you're not passing a ton, you're not gonna you shouldn't be turning the ball over a ton. So, A-. He's good.
A-. Okay, I'll take it. All right, so here. Let me get this last one up real quick. Well, A-. Yeah.
And Lillard scored 38, which I know he's going to get his buckets anyways, but
Lakers, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Spurs. John, talk to me, man. Lakers, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Spurs, 7 through 10. That's the standing.
In that order. Lakers 7, Warriors 8, Grizzlies 9, and the Spurs are 10. By the way, I'm going through Twitter. Kyle Kuzma is public enemy number 1 right now.
Because he missed that shot?
Why?
I just think people are just really mad at the way he played. I'm seeing our girl Raquel from Lakers Fanatics who said Kuz is about to get threatened tonight. He really can't make bleep.
Guys, let me
leave him alone.
Let me talk to Laker Nation real quick for the people who are listening right now. Let me just stop right here. Okay. If you've ever had to do something 60 to 70 plus times and do it in front of hundreds of thousands of people watching over and over and over again, I want you to think about what you've done privately that nobody has seen you do, where you've done the same repetitive motion over and over and over again. When have you ever gone this long and not had an off night?
Right.
I'm married and I love my wife. Over a decade being with this girl. And there are some nights I just don't feel like being a husband. Okay. I'm just off. I ain't got it. I'm sorry. I'm just not that dude tonight. Right? Not that dude today. Kuz just wasn't that dude today. But let's not flip the switch. The dude was one of the most celebrated dudes in the last couple months. He's been holding it down, playing defense. It looked like a brand new Kuz we were saying at the top of the season. And the dude scores 4 points and has an off night, and all of a sudden y'all want to hop in the DMs. I just really hope that one day that when you're at your job and you mess up once, I just hope for that one day management jumps all over you and threatens you. I hope they just be like, man, if you don't get it together, you're going to be fired. Just so you can know what it feels like on a microcosm level to have.
I got another one for our buddy Big Baby Jonathan. Congrats to Portland and the referees tonight. They're straight horrible calls. I can't stand it.
Listen, here's the reason why, and Jay brought this up, Jonathan brought this up, and Justin, you have to help me on this. Here's my thought process. If the officiating has been bad in the NBA all season long, then it almost becomes your fair due to have bad officiating happen to you, because it's been happening to every team all season. So for me, I don't necessarily count it, even though it does matter in the game. But if the officiating is bad for everybody, then I don't feel like it's just against the Lakers. I just think it's bad. I just think it's something you have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, there were some really confusing calls. I mean, and they reviewed a few of them, and they still got them wrong, which is kind of sus. Maybe they want us to play in the play-in for ratings.
Conspiracy alert.
I mean, ratings would be way higher if we were in that game for those that night, but I don't think that way really. Dude, regardless of officiating, we still could have won that game. So again, I take that file and I put it in the very Portland Trailblazers win cabinet, because this is how it just is what it is, you know.
There it is. And Chris says, our own Chris Camello says, refs 2 ill-advised calls late in the fourth led to 2 of Dame's threes that hurt LA. Those were 10-point swings.
Didn't Keith have a couple? Keith had 2 turnovers too in like the third quarter that might have been a 5-point swing, but it was within 15 seconds.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got a quote from AD to elaborate on the mental thing. He says, we competed, we fought towards the end, just mental mistakes that beat us. Got Alex Caruso on his foot injury. It was pretty painful after the Clippers game. I made it through.
A winner. That's what a champion does. That's what a champion does, bro. That's what a champion does. It hurts. I'm going through.
And he said, I felt like on tonight's game, it felt like a playoff intensity out there. That's from Caruso.
Good. That's what we need.
To be honest, we kind of needed that about 20 games ago.
Yeah.
If I'm just being honest. But maybe that's the difference in having Schroeder and having Caruso in the starting lineup, is that one is going to bring intensity on the defensive and offensive end, even if he makes mistakes and nowhere near as athletic. And on the other side, it's just always going to be like this. Schroeder doesn't have really that much emotion unless he gets called for a foul that he doesn't agree with. But for the most part, he's just here.
Caruso now, if there's a positive thing through a game like tonight, there's no moral victory. We're trying to get better as a team. We play the team to win. Our team was a little gutted after this. So you can tell they really wanted this game, and it stings with them that they came up short.
And I wonder if it would have been different if LeBron would have been able to travel. In case those who don't know, LeBron is resting off of his feet to make sure his ankle gets better. So he's not traveling. He's not doing what he normally does, sitting on the bench, clapping and stuff like that. But there are moments that we've watched in the season while he's been down where they would come out, they would go into these timeouts, and LeBron would immediately start pulling people to the side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here's the person we ain't talked about. Here's the person we have not talked about. THT. We talked about Schroeder. We talked about Bron. But THT is out. And he's supposed to come back next game. Am I correct?
Yeah, he's only supposed to be out tonight and last night.
He's a different offensive threat, right? Now, let's do this real quick while we're all on here as we get ready to wrap up. Here is the remaining schedule. Or here are the standings, should I say, for here we go. Here are the standings. You guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
So right now, as you said, Golden State Warriors are 8 at 34-3. Now, just so we're understanding and clear, the Lakers are technically 2 games behind Portland now. We lost the tiebreaker, and we're 1 game back. So it's technically 2. So we can't even tie them. We have to get 2 games on them just to get back into that 6th seed. Okay. And then right here, this is why I'm not worried about falling too much further than this. Golden State, Memphis, and San Antonio, this 32, 33, 34, the Lakers are going to win at least 2 more games. And I think with those 2 wins, there's no way these guys are going to catch up. And so if you're worried about what the Lakers are going to look like beyond the 7th seed, don't trip. Somebody came in here yesterday saying the Lakers are going to fall to the 9th seed. It would take a tremendous collapse. AD would have to be hurt again and LeBron not come back for us to lose the next 4 games. That would be crazy. Okay, that would be crazy. So given what you're seeing right here, do you think we'll be able to catch Portland?
I still think it's possible if we went out. We might, but I think like Justin said, that Sunday's game is going to be very important against Phoenix. So I don't know, but I think the other 4. I mean, the New York game is a game we can lose, but I think the final 3 are definitely all winnable games. Houston's garbage. That's banner, and it's banner night. And obviously, Indiana, they're in turmoil, coaching turmoil. That's what you get for firing a good coach, Nate McMillan, and bringing in just trying to bring in Nick Nurse Jr. doing the Sean McVay thing, and then and Greg Foster's arguing with players, and then you got a New Orleans team who won't have Zion. Brandon Ingram's a little hobbled a little bit, and obviously they're playing for trying to get in the play-in tournament, but I think they're done.
But here's the issue. Here's the issue. The schedule we're looking at right now that I'm looking at is Portland's schedule. This is their remaining schedule.
Okay.
Remember, we have to get 2 games on them, which means we need to be able to win 2 or 3 more games, and they have to lose 2 or 3 more games for us to catch up on it. Okay. So San Antonio, does Portland beat them?
Yes.
Does Portland beat Houston?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does Portland beat Utah?
I don't think so.
Is that a home game or a road game?
That's
it's
a home
in Utah.
Game. I don't care if it was a home game. They are not beating Utah. Utah scored 125 points.
That's L.
Yeah. Phoenix.
L.
And then Denver.
Not with Jokic.
Now with Jokic. Yeah.
That's they'll lose the final 3 games, and that could help the Lakers because I think we can win our final 3 games.
Bro, it's very possible that we could go into the last 2 games and the seeds switch based upon how we play those next 2 games.
I don't think it's possible. I think it's practically a formality.
At this point, we're going to find out. Chris Camelo lets us know 6 turnovers in the 4th led to 11 points for the Blazers. That's probably what AD was talking about with those mistakes. Listen, guys, we lost the game. It is what it is. Obviously, we saw some bright spots. We saw some troubling spots. But you really can't assess the game fully because you don't have a full roster of people who are going to be crucial. THT, Schroeder, and, of course, LeBron. And in my opinion, you might as well throw Harrell in there because he didn't play. But normally you would have more energy. You would have more options as a coach, and that didn't happen tonight. And the Lakers battled hard. They did what they had to do. Give me some final thoughts, Justin, about what we're looking for and encourage Laker Nation as we get ready to head into the final stretch of the season.
We have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I mean, health is a legit concern. I'm not as concerned about AD at this point. He looks like he's kind of past the few game test of getting his body rolling. The back spasms were kind of concerning. I don't want to see that spark up in the playoffs. Yeah, but he looked okay. It's really LeBron. But and there's nobody else I'd want coming back from this injury than LeBron. He takes care of his body. He knows his body. He's done this over and over again. And any Laker fan out there that's concerned, I get it. It makes sense. But we were really concerned last year when we went 2-6 in the bubble and nothing made sense and our rotations were weird and we had new players that weren't playing well. And it came down to we had LeBron and AD. And so give me two guys that are going to stand across the court and be better than both of those guys, and you're not going to find it.
Won't
so
find
nope.
it.
Nope.
Jay Watt, talk to the people.
Laker Nation, foreign familiar. It's the storm is not over. We will get through this. Let's play our part. In the words of Devon, let's send some positive vibes towards our players. Go out there and just support. Let's leave the negative energy to the side. We got some winning to do.
Yep.
Mission number 18 is not over. I don't care what Stephen A. Smith say. I don't care what Max Kellerman say. I don't care what Jalen Rose said. I don't care about how nervous Sedano, LZ, and Cap. Well, how nervous Sedano and Kaplan were. Those are my guys. I just don't care. We have still the greatest player of this generation, not named Kobe Bean Bryant, wearing purple and gold. And his name is LeBron Raymond James Sr. And when he's back, and you're going to have to bet against him in a must-win, I feel for Golden State because he has not forgot what the you-know-what they put him through when they got Kevin Durant. Yeah. Now the tides are going to be even. It's LeBron and Steph, mano a mano. I'm calling it. I think if they don't get the 6, we're going to see LeBron and Steph duke it out. This is going to be Hagler Hearns in the 12th round.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
Okay, can I real quick? Dude, what? It is absolutely insane that every year LeBron James has to prove something. It's insane. Like, it's almost like has LeBron ever won a championship where the media was not doing this to him?
Never. It's been like this since he was 17. Bro, me and LeBron are the same age. He's been going through this literally half of his life. We're both 36.
What is wrong with people? When he finally falls off and loses, then whatever at that point. But dude, people are crazy.
When Skip Bayless retires, and LeBron retires, then Skip Bayless is going to retire, and then everything's going to go away.
Skip,
bro.
Sorry, it blows my mind. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, man, the world is a really crazy place. And fandom and fanatics, we're fanatics, man. We're fanatics. And we've been in the Showtime Slack and we just let it all out and hang. But the truth is we come back to a center point and we regress to the mean. And the regression to the mean is really just us getting back into our love for Laker basketball. And that's kind of how I want to end tonight. Here's the idea, guys, as I get ready to do my closing spiel. I want you to think back to March and when the pandemic hit. I want you to think about how many unknowns there were. I remember that still dealing with Kobe dying and just a couple months later being told that not only were we not going to have basketball, but the world was shutting down. You couldn't travel. They weren't even sure if you could go to the grocery store. They were saying you had to hurry up and get groceries and get toilet paper and get water because you're going to have to quarantine. When we were quarantined for that weeks, it felt like, then we started getting a little bit more clarity on what the future would look like, but we're still unsure. We started hearing about the possibility of a vaccine and started looking at, is there possibilities that we can survive this and come out of this pandemic? And here we are still a year later, much more knowledge, understanding things better. But what makes this year feel better than last year is that last year we had no idea what the future held. We had no idea what was going to happen to our lives, to school, for our kids, for work. Businesses were closing down. We weren't even sure if they were ever going to come back. Musicians in LA weren't able to play. Actors on Broadway weren't able to act. And nobody knew when it was going to end. And then 2021 hit. Vaccinations started going out. You started hearing orders about lifting off these restrictions in certain cities and certain states. And regardless about how you feel about it, It just felt a little different being able to look into the future and make plans knowing that you could do something. Last year, we had no idea what the future held. And this year, the future looks much brighter than it did last year. This, to me, is exactly what the Lakers have been for the last decade, where we've moved out of the Kobe Bryant Shaq era, and we moved into this weird state of several years where we had no idea what the future of the franchise held. We didn't know what was going to happen, if a star was going to come. Were we ever going to be able to get back to championships? And meanwhile, while all this is happening, Golden State is out and they're doing their thing and they're winning championships and signing star players like Kevin Durant. And when we looked at ourselves, we had no idea what the future was going to hold. That was like our 2020. But then I remember the day that it came across on the Twitter feed, a release from Clutch Sports. LeBron James intends to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. And all of us went buck wild. The combination to us of LeBron James, Lonzo, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, thinking about putting all these people together. We didn't even care about Luke Walton. For the first time in almost a decade, we looked at the future and we felt like it looked bright. And then things got a little more clear because just the following season, we found out Anthony Davis was coming to join LeBron James. And we knew at that point it was nothing but a championship in our future. It's far different than the previous years because in the previous years, we had no idea what was holding for the franchise. But we knew when we had AD and LeBron that a championship was in our window. I want to remind you about that because as we enter into this time where we're getting ready to possibly be in a playoff game or going into a play-in playoff game, it looks a little unclear. LeBron is still hurt. AD's trying to get back into form. This is a brand new team. Dennis Schroeder is streaming on Twitch during games. And while all this is going on, it feels a little unclear. But I want to remind you the same feeling you had when LeBron came. You knew you were getting a leader. You knew when LeBron came, you knew that you were getting a superstar who still had the ability to carry an entire franchise back to championship contention. And we have spent majority of this season without that leader. I want to remind you, that leader is coming back. And that leader is going to come back with rest and health and an agenda to put this franchise back on his back. He's proved it once before. So yeah, Kuzma can go score 4 points in 30-plus minutes, but it won't matter because you're going to have the leader on the floor again. We were excited about Kuz in Summer League, but we got really excited about LeBron and free agency. Put your eyes back on the crown of the king. The king is going to return. And when he does, things will change. Best believe that. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and give our final shout out. Let's go ahead and let's remind the people. So, Justin, man, give a shout out on all the things that are going on in your world. Remind the people that you write. I don't think people even know that you write. Let them know.
Yeah, if you see any of the articles on Twitter and on our Showtime Forum website, we share them on Instagram. Most of that, well, all of it is me. So if you guys have any topics or any suggestions, are all told purple and gold every Thursday. They're more topical, but people have stuff they want to hear about. DM us, hit us up, hit Showtime Forum up, hit me up at Justin P. Stover, and let me know. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jonathan, I already know you got tons of stuff to shout out to the people. Let them know, man.
At JWatson0984 on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow Showtime Forum on Instagram. Like us on Facebook. We're getting our Facebook game back up. For all those who we're not familiar with how to find us on YouTube and Twitter, and you're real savvy with Facebook, we're coming. We still have our Facebook page up, so make sure you're following that. Our website, theshowtimeforum.com, where you can find Justin's articles, our podcast with Chaz and Chris, and all things Showtime Forum. And make sure you subscribe to our Showtime Forum YouTube channel. This is what we're streaming on, so make sure you subscribe and hit that notification so when we go live, you're there with us. Always on Twitter at Showtime_forum.com. Make sure you get your merch. Can't beat LA. So I'm rocking the hat. Shout out to Adil. He's got the Canelo shirt dropping tomorrow for the big fight tomorrow. Go tonight, GFX. Go follow. Hey, when we leave here, the party's not over. The after party's on Spaces. We're going over to Spaces on Twitter. So get in the chat and vent how you felt about tonight's game and what you're looking forward to for the rest of the season. We'll be on Spaces on Twitter at Showtime_Forum.
I love it. And for me, they've already said it all as far as Showtime. I just want to remind people of something that happened or is happening. The Kobe Bryant Ultimate Tribute issue for Slam Magazine. Apparently, it's already been sold out, as we already expected, but I believe they're going to be getting some more up there. So listen, y'all have to. If you are a Laker fan, this is something that you need to keep for your kids, mint condition. So we got to find a way to get it. It's $99, but listen, we've spent more on less, if you know what I mean. So with that being said, man, keep the positive vibes going. Meet us on Spaces. Justin, man, thank you so much for co-hosting with me.
Yeah,
I'm going to see you on the next one, prayerfully and hopefully, man. And then Jay Watt, man, thank you for doing your thing tonight. And we appreciate you. Listen to this. This boy, when LeBron retires, Kip will be out of a job. Absolutely not. As long as the Dallas Cowboys exist, he'll always have a job.
Yep.
With that being said, always remember, Mamba out, but not forgotten. We'll catch you guys on the next one.